The following is a presentation of iRacing on PTR TV. We'd like to thank all of our channel partners for their support. Please like and subscribe to the channel, and we hope you enjoy today's broadcast. The Dover Motor Speedway, a track that was built originally as an asphalt track converted to concrete in the early 90s, is one of the scariest tracks on the circuit, hence its title as the Monster Mile. The high banks, the narrow confines, all the self-cleaning nature of the speedway tends to be one that drivers do love or hate, takes all the skill and concentration that you can muster. Tonight here on PTR TV, we come back after a week off to present the North American Asphalt Series here with race number 3 of their 2023 campaign. Going to be myself, Corey Silva, in the booth, along with a special guest, not Jim Silva there, Jim Boos Jr., a league admin who's going to help me in here as Andre has kind of gone under the weather here on the evening. So happy to have him in. We are undergoing a little bit of technical issues with Jim here. Audio issues are plenty. Nothing can ever go smoothly in a broadcast. Always something has to go a muster here, but still going to work through, and qualifying underway for these guys right now here at Dover. 5 minutes of queue on the board right now. We got some laps being run. That's a 34 of Kyle Mundell. Patrick Colicchio, I thought he was on the top of the board, but Rob Carroll has gone to the top of the board there. Lap time of 23:23. So seeing some good things there. Anybody else having to turn their lap? We have Matt Moreau in the number 38 car, currently on circuit right now. Running a high line here, very high for Dover. Usually you want to be right there on that, well, I guess not really a white line, but right on the bottom of the racetrack. Let's see what he does in 3 and 4. This could be a warm-up lap, maybe get the tires up to temp and take a stab at it for lap number 2. Whoa, he ain't going to have a lap number 2 because he's going to wreck it carried over into lap number 2. So Moreau hard into the wall there, and going to be something that is going to make his life a lot more difficult. But let's go ahead and just kind of feature some things here that we're going to be trying out here on the evening. We have our cameras here on the evening. You can take a gander here. Our Brady Bunch wall, as we call it. We got 6 of them: Rob Carroll, Brandon Fiedler, Patrick Colicchio, Matt Mulvaney, Greg Snellgrove, and Brady Floyd here. So kind of getting some one-on-one as these guys do take their time here at the Dover Motor Speedway, and seeing how in their various setups how they get around here at the tricky Monster Mile, as it is called. Of course, a few weeks have already gone by with this current season, and we had 2 races. We had Daytona, and then we had Michigan. Both were in a photo finish of sorts. Daytona, literally the closest finish I've ever covered in iRacing history. It was the closest finish on PTR TV, and I think it was exactly 1/1000th of a second. And then at Michigan, came down to about a half a car length there at the start-finish line. So we'll see what happens here today at Dover. I don't know if we'll get the trifecta when it comes to photo finishes, but we'll see what the night does have to offer us, because right now the timer for qualifying down to a 0 value. So that means one thing. That means we need to go down trackside and give you that starting lineup. So let's go ahead and do it right now. It's going to be the PTR TV starting lineup here today from the Dover Motor Speedway. Starting today's race from the front row, it is going to be none other than Rob Carroll, the Michigan native. He's going to be starting on the front row here at the Monster Mile. Zachary Thornton to his outside. Row number 2 is going to find Brandon Fiedler there, and then Kyle Mundell in the 4th spot. In 5th, we have Zachary Ward out of Homestead, and then Tyler Hallahan from Elmsdale, Nova Scotia. A lot of Canadians we do have here in the series. Kane Vandermark, another Homestead, Miami, Florida native. And Matt Mulvaney in 8th. 9th, we have Wes Gallo, and then Nathan Vossi in 10th. 11th is Tyler Otten and Brian Fratiane. I know I'm butchering that, but that's the best we got for now. He's going to be in 13th. 14th is Brady Floyd. Just saw him on cam, and Cody Olson from Oregon there. West Coast native there in the 15th spot. Greg Stillgrove from Scubanacadie, Nova Scotia. I got the pronunciation pretty close, I think, for Greg. Matt Moreau in 17th. And then finally, Patrick Colicchio from Virginia in 18th. And Jim, let's see if audio is going to be on our favor now. It is not. I have absolutely no idea. I talked to Jim in the pre-race. We were talking, and all of a sudden audio cut. And I don't know if it's me. It could be me. I'm going to try one more time and see. Maybe it is me. If not, you know, technology does rear its ugly head here. But these guys getting queued up on the grid here. I am going to try one more time here on the back end to see if I can figure out why Jim's audio is not working for me. But we'll see if I can fix that. But our race details here. We have fixed setups here in the series and a 65% fuel load. Only 2 sets of tires on the wall here this evening. So these guys will really have to manage those sets, manage that fuel load. And at least one pit stop will go without a tire change. No stage breaks here, and our weather conditions here from virtual Delaware. 76 in the air, 109 track temp, so pretty juicy track temp there. Very, very warm, and a 217 in virtual sim time. Coming through 3 and 4 here. We should get one pace lap here at Dover Speedway. Pace car will head in. Barney, you'll have the flag in hand. It's going to be Rob Carroll in the 2 car, going to be the one to lead us down. 200 laps at Dover, North American Asphalt Series. Green flag in the air. Let's go racing from Delaware. Going to fire off into turn number 1. A good gap there by Rob Carroll. He's going to lead them down by almost 0.3 of a second right off the opening jump here, heading down the back straightaway. Looks like up through the top 10, all going to be single file. Going to go back all the way down to the 9th spot, where you have, I think that is the 15 car. Or perhaps it's the 14 car. That's Taylor Otten there. Oh, and we're going around. We got Brian Fratian there. And spinning around, and a little bit of contact there. And first caution of the event. So we'll sort out things there on a replay in just a moment. As very, very early here, we do go under the yellow flag here at Dover. Just have to cue something here with audio in the background, and we'll get sorted there. First wreck of the race. It looked as though it was just a standard Dover incident where you have some guy going up, some guy going down here. We'll get back to live footage. But that was our first caution. Let's see what kind of damage. Yeah, Patrick Colicchio with that damage. Let's go back and get one more look at that opening wreck. See, he's sitting back pretty far. Yeah, the wreck already happened. That was the 81 of Brian Fratiane, or something on those lines. I'm sure I'm butchering that. But yeah, one more look at that. Let's see, that was the 52 car, Nathan Vossi to the outside. Again, tight quarters racing here at Dover. 52 was high into the fence. And when he came back down the track, just nowhere to go. So lap 4 here. We'll see what the deal is, and if Colicchio is going to be able to get that front end repaired. You do want to have that front end. You can just see there, they're popping it out there just ever so slightly, and I can see a little bit of concave to it. But if you can get the majority of it done, Dover, while it is a significant aero track with its high speed in nature, if you can get a little bit of it situated there, you should be able to even it out here. But hopefully in traffic, the aero push does not hinder him too badly. Patrick Colicchio here. We'll see what he was really happy earlier. Let's see how he's feeling right now. Check his expression out. He doesn't look too perturbed there. He's ready to get back at it there. It is not Brandon Fiedler right there. It is Patrick Colicchio there. I'm not sure why the back end data is still saying that, but that's rather here nor there. We'll get back to that live footage here, and I think we already are on 1 to go. Rob Carroll will get us situated here on this next up-and-coming restart. And he has that 35 of Zachary Thornton to his outside. And on the back straightaway here at Dover Motor Speedway, we'll see that restart zone. Typically at Dover, or any track that has the restart zone in the middle of a corner or at the exit of a corner, it does tend to favor that inside lane quite significantly on these opening restarts, or any restart for that matter. So I do expect Carroll to get that jump and be quite advantageous here. But we'll see indeed if that still is the case here on this one. Restart zone engaged. Let's get going. I'll tell you, it looks like Thornton was ready to go on that one. He was a lot more prominent there on that outside lane, but even still, Fiedler in the 39. That is the league sponsor on that number 39 mobile. Rather, 921 Mobile DJ. It is the presenting sponsor here of the North American Asphalt Series. So, of course, want to give them an appropriate shout-out for their efforts in helping us out here with the league in the broadcast. That is the number 34 of Kyle Mundell fighting off Zachary Ward in the number 8 car. That 8 car with Harman Media on the nose. You can see on board here with Ward, trying to figure out where he wants to go here at Dover. It's kind of a one-lane track in nature here in the iRacing service. You can see he has a lot of room out the back there to Kane Vandermark, so he does have some room to play with here. Looks like we may have a side-by-side battle shaping up for the second spot. That's Brandon Fiedler going underneath and a little loose, or tight rather, off of turn number 2. Washes up nearly into Thornton. They're going to go door-to-door into turn number 3. Side by side here at Dover is where we stand at present. And this is going to be all what Rob Carroll wants to see as our race leader. He wants to see them going door to door and allow him to get out to that race lead and get that clean air, save his tires maybe a little bit better than his competition may be doing. And that is going to help out in the long haul, again, with the course of this race, where they're going to have to, you know, make one stop here without tires. The way that this is going to work out, again, they have to make one stop without tires, because we only have 2 on the wall, but the mathematics say that we're going to have to pit probably 3 times. So if you save those tires, it's going to pay off in the long run. We got Brady Floyd here in the 20. Remember, he was involved in that Daytona photo finish we had. He's racing Matt Mulvaney there in the 3 car off of turn number 4 into turn number 1 and 2 at this juncture. Brady Floyd there. He's fallen. Now he has that position ahead of him. He's able to go ahead and he'll set his sights on the number 88 of Tyler Hallahan. See him there. What does he have that say? Help me. Esports.com for cloak.net. He needs help, but at least he's got the sponsor plugs there, so he's doing something right in that capacity. It'll make at least somebody happy there for that little backdrop of sorts. Second place, Zach Thornton out there. We have a little bit of a stack up for him behind Fiedler there. Fiedler got going pretty well, but starting to fall off here as things do progress. He's getting Mundell and Ward. You can see he's not really nailing those exits the way he needs to. Maybe overdriving the entry a little bit, washing up more than he may prefer to. You can see his perspective there. I think he took a page out of what was his name? Jeffrey Belk's book there with the Pokemon, but the Pokemon blanket. I wonder if that was intended there. But side by side, right behind him, Arrears. That is who was that going for that pass? That was Ward getting by Mundell there, it appears. Closest battle on track right now. Matt Mulvaney is trying to close in on Cody Olsen. Olsen in that 5 car. Brady Floyd running all the way to the top of the track, which at Dover is not as advantageous as it would be at other tracks. You know, we saw Phoenix here today in the championship race. No spoilers. I won't give that in case anybody's DVRing it. But look at Cody Olsen there trying to rock the bottom of the track. He kind of bounced off the apron there, getting a little bit too low. Got his car a little squirrely, had him drop back in the pack. That lets him close in closer to Matt Mulvaney there, the 12th place driver. Drivers we haven't spoke of here today, the West Gallo machine. He has that Yahoo Toyota. He's closing in on Kane Vandermark there again. You can see the different strategies here, the different approaches to running here at Dover, where typically you either want to wrap the bottom or you want to shoot for a late apex. Those tend to be, in my opinion, those tend to be the best ways to make a pass, is to try to do those strategies. But if you go for the late entry and kind of do that late apex, a lot of times it is harder on the right front. So I tend to, my personal nature, try to wrap the bottom here, especially that high groove. It may be fast, but here on iRacing, the high groove, while it's fast, a lot of time ends up beating up those tires, and you got to watch those corner exits here, particularly at Dover. The monster will bite you there, but it looks like we have a wreck on the front straightaway. That is Matt Mulvaney. He's not going to be too pleased right now. He will be in that infield tire wall there. See the facial expression. Matt Mulvaney not too happy. Of course, we'll take. Oh, I don't know what was said there on the mic, but I don't think it was anything happy, and I don't blame him for it. But let's go on replay and see what happened. All right, let's see. That's the 88 of Tyler Hallahan, Cody Olsen, front top of the shot. Oh, 5 of Olsen got loose, and basically Mulvaney was given no option other than to just kind of make a snaking maneuver. And unfortunately, it did not work out for him. See here from his onboard opportunity. Was the loser. Now it's basically, he had one, there was nothing he could have done any differently there. He was trying to make the snake move work. That was all that he really had to operate with. And unfortunately for him, he is into that tire wall there. So a little bit of attrition here at Dover. Nothing that we don't expect. But we will be under caution for a second time today. We're going to take a quick break here to see if we can get our commentator audio situation a little bit rectified here. So stay with us. We'll be right back.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics and engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members.
All right, back on 1 to go for this restart after the second caution of tonight's race after Matt Mulvaney, Cody Olsen, and I believe that was maybe perhaps Snellgrove who had a little bit of problems there. You can see the damage to his vehicle there. Up front, it has been the same 2 all race. Thornton and Carroll have been up front. Carroll from that pole position has been able to take full advantage and drive off into the proverbial sunset here. And we'll see what he can do. Still a long way to go. Remember, there's no stage cautions in this league, so it will just be a straight run to the checkers. Only cautions we will have will be ones that are via cause, but we'll head into that restart zone. Barney has the flag in hand once more. And let's let him loose back here for another restart. Heading into turn number 1 and 2 as we have seed all race. They will fan out on corner exit here. Looks like some guys back of the pack here, perhaps still going side by side. You can see that is the number, that yellow and, well, I guess lime green car of Brandon Fiedler to the outside of Kane Vandermark there. Vandermark going to be to the inside of Mundell. This is for that 5th spot, lap number 25 here. Again, most all these drivers have not made pit stops. First driver that made pit stop was Brady Floyd. I'll bring up the stint graphic right here. And you can see on the ticker the last lap of pit. So lap 5, you can see 5 laps to go for Brady Floyd. Everybody else 27 on their OG set. Now I would ascertain that it was fuel only, 6.2 seconds. So I would ascertain it was fuel only, which allows him to stretch things out a little bit longer, but he's still on the same tires. So again, you're going to have to make that decision of when do you want to make that pit stop without tires. Do you want to do it early? Do you want to do it in the middle? Do you want to do it at the end? I would probably not do it at the end, but I'm sure somebody will before the night's over. Again, the strategy in these limited fuel set races definitely tends to be one to watch. Looks like Carroll under fire for the first time here this evening. That's going to be Zach Thornton to the top. He's going all the way to the top, trying to get that run off of the corner and down the straightaway here. Didn't really work, but then you can see Zach Ward but just behind him. Again, I think that may have been a little kiss to the wall there. So that battle does continue. We go back here. We haven't just kind of go through all of our camera drivers that we have. Greg Snellgrove there. You can see, I can't remember who it was behind him. I think that was Brady Floyd behind him perhaps there. I think he maybe knows that we're watching him there because I saw the eyes go open wide there. Greg Snellgrove, one of our camera drivers here, having a battle in the 11th, 10th spot. I will say Brian Fratian there in the 81. He was involved in our first caution, but clearly the damage, nothing of significance for him because he did go ahead and get that repaired and currently running in the top 10. So a good recovery from him there. It looks as though Carroll may have found his rhythm a little bit up front. and is currently up by about 3/4 tenths of a second there, running more consistent times. Now it makes you wonder if Thornton is just backing off and maybe saving some tire, or if Thornton just lost everything he had. Maybe he was pushing a little bit too hard early in the run, but just as I say that, oh, there goes Carroll into the fence. So Rob Carroll into the fence there. That's going to allow Thornton to get right to that rear deck lid. And we'll see what happens now, if there's any damage, any suspension damage, any toe link damage. You know, that is what you'll look out for here in these races over and over again. Rob Carroll focused in here, and that's how you have to be at Dover for all 200 laps. You have to be dead focused on what's in front of you, because there's just no time here to figure out where you're going to go. What's going to happen next? If you're thinking, you're going to be into the tire wall there. So that's Rob Carroll trying to recover from that. And again, the Zach and Zach show, we saw them. I can't remember which race it was. It was the Zach and Zach show. They're in second and third between Thornton and Ward there. Got some stuff going on here. Brady Floyd in the 20 car. I think he just got by Kane Vandermark and Wes Gallo. Wes Gallo was rather competitive here in the first couple races of the season. Not so much a top competitor here at Dover thus far, but the race is still very young. Oh, somebody in the fence. Who was that? Back of the shot there, we have somebody. I can't believe we're still not under yellow. That's Kane Vandermark. He will tow. But the monster did come out and bite him here. Let's see what happened. He's kind of bouncing off the apron there. There goes Fiedler in the 39. And, oh, yeah, he just got loose by himself. And he did a bang-up job there to keep that car on the apron, because he kept it on the apron and didn't get too sideways. So it basically allowed Barney to keep the race green, because if he stayed on the track, maybe got a little bit sideways, a little bit loose, Barney would have waved the yellow flag and changed the complexion of this race. Carroll up by 7/10 of a second over Thornton. Ward 2/10 of a second beyond that. And then we have Kyle Mundell, Brady Floyd starting to separate out here. Wes Gallo, Taylor Otten. We'll go to our Brady Bunch wall here. See everybody that we got on cam here. You can see there's a lot of team communications here, a lot of chatter. And Mulvaney, see glancing all over. He's still in, he's 15 laps down, but still chugging in it. You know how important attrition is, and at Dover, a track that attrition definitely can come into play. So can't quite give up. We've got 13 cars on the lead lap. Matt Moreau in that 38 car being the last one currently on circuit right now. On that lead lap, Tyler Hallahan just ahead of him. You can see the significant damage to the left front of that automobile, and that side damage and the rear. So I think everything damaged except the right side, which I'll tell you at Dover, that's usually the corner of the car that gets the damage, is the right side, and that's the part that's clean. What's that old racing adage? If the left side is damaged, you got used up. If the right side's damaged, you did the using up. I think that's more or less what they say there. Just ahead of that, Patrick Colicchio there, and that number 18 looking to the inside of Snellgrove. And he will make that pass. Snellgrove looks like he'll go down 2 for 2. Actually, nope, that's Nathan Vossi to his inside. Vossi is well off the pace here in terms of being 14 laps down after his repair efforts, but still on track here tonight. Drivers, I don't think we've spoken about Taylor Otten in the 15 car. I think I was warned that there was going to be one person in the race that had a mismatched livery there, but he's currently running in that 7th spot in that, I guess, Tony Stewart and/or Clint Boyer mobile, depending on which era you want to take part of there. But looks like we have a battle for second here. The Zach and Zach show looking to have a little bit of a flip-flop here. Zach Ward in the number 8 car. He's looking to the inside. Look at Dade County Racing. He didn't tell me the facts, so I didn't have anything to write for him there, but he's going to get by and clear for that second spot. Or no, he's not, because Thornton's going to fight on the outside here, and the outside has come into fruition here. It has been something to use, but off the corner there, yep, the Stealth Crow Mobile of Thornton still getting some good momentum here heading into 1 and 2. I think he may have to concede here, but is he going to go for a crossover move? No, I don't think he's going to have it. He's going to get right to the back bumper down the straightaway, but he'll have to relinquish the spot. Plenty of space in the rears, but Thornton will relegate back to third, and Rob Carroll now has a new direct competitor in the form of Zachary Ward here. So let's take a look at the lap times here. Actually, I think we have a pass change here. Taylor Otten getting by. That is Wes Gallo. He's going to make that pass. So Gallo back to 7th, Otten up to 6th. Let's go ahead and take a look at our lap times here as we navigate around the Dover Motor Speedway. We'll switch the ticker over so you can now see everybody on the lap time chart. Last time by, Zachary Ward flying about a 10th and a half in the bank in relation to Carroll. That'll get him closed up here. And then you have a 57, let's see what it is, a 47, yep, another 10th, or about 3/4 of a 10th, 600ths, I think that would probably be the better way to say it. So Ward's still certainly faster there, and then go back to the 5th spot. Brady Floyd, mathematically the fastest car on the racetrack last time by, and he's in traffic. He has Kyle Mundell just ahead of him there. And he's still faster, so imagine that 20 and some clean air there. Mundell into the fence. Brady Floyd had to do a massive evasion maneuver there, and that probably got him really nervous there, as you would expect it to. Once you get over that, yep, you can see he's trying to unwind there and get himself back into the flow of things, because once you kind of get shooken up like that, you have to get back in your rhythm. Again, kind of relating to the Cup race today, Ryan Blaney had things not go his way, and he was really getting visibly and audibly upset, and he had to tone himself down, get himself back into the flow. You know, nothing bad happened. I can get back to where I need to be. So Brady Floyd will do that and try to make that pass on Mundell there. But the other thing to speak of here on the evening is the fuel load. So we will again reference that here. You have a few guys who are outliers right now. You do have Brady Floyd, who is an outlier. He did just get by Mundell there. He topped off, so he can technically go about another 30 laps than anybody else. But everybody else, 52 laps in. Remember, a 65% fuel load. So I think Dover's fuel load right around 90, 95 laps, somewhere in that ballpark. So if you do 65% of it, I mean, that's just math. I don't have a calculator in front of me, but I'm going to go on the gandering of roughly 60 laps will probably be the fuel load here. So with that assertion in place and a couple cautions, I would expect maybe low 60s on the stopwatch for when these guys will peel off. But then will Brady Floyd... hopefully his connection didn't just go potato on us. I just lost Brady Floyd's feed. If I lost his connection, oh no, you do not want to see one of the fastest guys out. Oh, he's back and he's in the fence. I think maybe he had some system issues there when he rejoined the Worlds. He probably rejoined the Worlds unexpectedly. And we'll just get we'll bring it up on screen. You can see he's not here, and then when he came back into the wall, now he is back in the realm of things here. He's still on track. He has that damage, so that would lead me to believe more of it was a system issue where the computer just kind of locked up, and then typically if it was just a connection issue, he wouldn't have lost control of the car there. So. Super unfortunate, and I kind of already tell he's starting to struggle. I'll tell you, his last lap time was a 25:13 when he was running, faster than the leader prior to that. But he's still trying to get underneath Matt Moreau here. They're still plenty of space here to keep them on the lead lap. 15 seconds off the lead lap when we're pushing about nearly 25 seconds a circuit here. So not really in fear of that at present, but I can tell you up front that Carroll's lead certainly is evading here. It is down to less than a second, but I don't know if it's going to fall completely to pieces before the stage, or rather before the pit stops. There are no stages, but before the pit stop, I don't know if there's going to be enough gap for Ward to eat up before they eventually come to the pits, which should be within mere laps. Perhaps a little bit of a kiss to the wall there, but he now is kind of stabilizing around 1 second back. Looks like Wes Gallo may be under fire from Patrick Colicchio. Not Patrick Colicchio, that was Brian Fratiana. I've probably said his name 12 different times. I don't think I've been told. Oh, looks like Gallo didn't get a good run out for 4, got really free, lost all of his momentum. Now to the inside goes Brian there in the 81. He will clear, but he's going to get free off of the exit, and really free there. Wes Gallo may have taken the air off there as a crossover move, and now he's going to really send it off in to the corner here. Wes Gallo is going to try to wrap the bottom. Let's see, corner exit. Gallo kind of pancakes the fence there, so these guys are really struggling for grip, and I'll tell you, they are not going to want to save that set of tires. But they're going to have no choice. Being perfectly honest with you, I don't even know if the tires will suffer. I mean, he's right. I've heard at Dover there's a track where you genuinely can blow a right front. So we only have 2 sets on the wall, and again, my estimations would prove that they need to pit 3 times here on the evening. So Rob Carroll up front right now, again waiting on those pit stops, should be right around the corner. Haven't seen anybody peel off yet. We're 63 laps in, would expect any time now to see one of these guys peel off into the pits. We actually have, no, still haven't seen anybody. Brandon Fiedler actually, he is going to be the first one to draw blood here, so now he's going to be 2 laps down. And here at Dover, you do have to follow that access road, to the blue cone there, on corner exit of 2, which hold down on that apron, pretty difficult here, as dirty as it is, and particularly when you're not used to running it. So the gap staying solid right around 1.3 seconds, so Ward was closing in quite radically there, and now he has seemingly lost that touch, dropping back now to about 1.5 seconds. So I'll be still very interested to see. They're already pushing the boundaries of what I expected there to be for a pit stop. I was expecting 65 to be the long end of it, but again, those cautions that we had, as we'll pull up our race recap graphic here, was 2 cautions, so 7 laps. That probably added maybe another, they always say 2 caution laps is 1 green lap, so that would be maybe about 3 laps they've added, but even with that, I think that they are right on the cusp here. But again, I don't race as often as I used to. I don't think I've touched a next gen in over a year, so my knowledge of the fuel loads is not as high as some of them out there. But we'll see what happens. Oh, we have Wes Gallo, first blood here of anybody, so he's going to come to the pits right at lap 67. And he was running, I think, in the 6th spot. Dover, one of these tracks that you have to, I mean, you're going to lose upwards of 2 laps. You're going to lose 2 laps trying to get back up to speed after a pit cycle, so you really cannot have a caution. Oh, Rob Carroll is going to pit here. I don't know if that's the league rule that they had to pit off of 3, but he did, and that will cost time. I don't know if they could peel right off the banking. That is the dangerous thing to do, but that's the fast thing to do. But Carroll took the very conservative route in there. We'll have to see if others do that. I perhaps think with some newfound remedies here that we may have our second commentator here, as we do have Zachary Thornton in the pits now out of second. All right, well, we will see if that, I think it may be rectified in the process of it, but Carroll is just finishing his service. So, nope, he is still getting service done. Now he's going to leave, but Thornton is in second. I thought they pitted a lap apart. They must have pitted on the same lap, but I just did not catch that. But you can see the gap behind, and Ward, he pitted a lap before, and that one lap of fresh tires is going to give us a battle for the lead side by side through 3 and 4 here. Carroll's trying to get up to speed, get those tires warmed up as fast as possible here. Now, Ward does not have the pace that Thornton has, but he's now in rhythm, and I think he is clear off of the corner, and yes, he is. That is called pitting one lap earlier, getting the advantage of a 1 second a lap faster. And actually, one thing I want to bring up is our pit lane time here. And this is from cone to cone, including the pit stop. Ward at a 47.4 and Carroll at a 47.4. So, interestingly enough, I would be interested to know if Ward used the access road off of 3 or if he dove right in, because he must have did something, because I don't think one lap would have gave him 2-3 seconds that he was behind, but that's rather here nor there. Taylor Otten in the 14 car in the pits, and we now have all the guys currently out that have topped off on one of the cautions. So Brian Fratian there in the 81 car, he is on circuit as the race leader with Colicchio, Snellgrove, Floyd, and Moreau. They are going to have another 15 laps or so to make something happen before they have to pit. And again, this is just what happens in these limited fuel races, is the strategy will make everyone need an Advil by the end of it, trying to process who's on what, who can do what, who needs to do this, who needs to do that. That's the name of the game. It's fun to watch, but we'll see what does happen here. Zachary Ward's still ahead. Brady Floyd is getting surpassed now. So right now we have Ward is trying to get his lap back. So he needs to get to the 81 to get his lap back. Is that way to protect him from having to be the free pass, or worse, a full lap down under a caution if it does come out.
And you know, Corey, the concrete here helps get the tires up to speed a little bit quicker than on the asphalt. So it's a little easier to gain that speed out of the pits on the fresh tires. Now there's quite a bit of fall off, and that's the payback at the end of the run.
Yep, and the magic of technology has given us audio from our commentator, so better late than never, but glad to have you in, Jim. So, of course, I don't know how much you've got to witness through all the technological follies here, but we're waiting on pit stops from our top 6 right now. They topped off at a caution roughly 20 laps in, so they have roughly another 10 laps of fuel. They're losing so much time, upwards of a second and a half a lap, but their hope is that it somehow balances out to give them an advantage at the end if this whole thing stays green.
Yeah, and on limited tires with the limited fuel, you really have to stretch that tire wear, and you have to make the fuel make sense. So topping off is a good idea. Probably not a good idea to take tires, 20, 30 laps into a run here because you're so limited on it. But the fact that we're seeing pit stops, we're seeing that second and a half fall off, everybody's probably wishing that they had those Ford Mr. Feelgoods on their vehicles here right now.
Yeah, the interesting part for me is, and I think we were talking while your audio did work in pre-race, that based on what I read, and I believe you are in the simulator and can validate this for me, there's only 2 sets of changeable tires. So they were going to have to make one stint super duper duper long. It's a matter of which one do they want to do. So I'm assuming that they're going to take tires on the next pit stop and then stay out for the last one? I really have no idea. I thought they were going to take no tires on the first stint, but everybody proved me wrong. In strategy as a commentator, you're always wrong trying to figure it out.
Well, your best bet here is to probably put on that first set of tires lap 75, between 60 and 75, and then run to 130-ish, 140, somewhere in there, maybe even closer to 150, and then put on that second set of tires. But if the fuel doesn't make it that far, there's going to be a lot of guys at the end of the race that are going to have a lot of wishing that they had those fresh tires.
I'm actually glad you said that, because as perspective of a driver there, as we have that's Nathan Vossi in the fence there just as the leader is getting by. That is a risky situation, but you've just put a new perspective in my brain. So what if these guys do right now? You have the top field. Let's pull up our stint graphic one more time on the ticker. 60 laps. We saw 67 being the longest that anybody has gone. So if you could stretch this and then make it to the point where you only need to make one more pit stop, then boom, you're good. Now we basically have the good old 3-stop versus a 2-stop race to see how this works out. And mathematics should say, I mean, we're at 80 now. If they do 60, I think that fuel window is open and they can make this on one more stop. And topping off early, you never know when it's going to work out in your favor, but it very well could work out for at least 4 or 5 guys here tonight.
And I would say that 100 laps is feasible on a set of tires. 125 is not. My experience here has been in the Xfinity Series car, and I've blown tires 2 years in a row that I raced that thing in a 125 lap race. So trying to run the whole thing without changing. So we know they won't go a whole 125. And with the way that the fuel is set up and the forced pit stops, I can't see leaving that set of tires on pit road.
Oh, the wall contact there. Zachary Ward, who got out of the pits ahead. Well, he kind of at the same time managed to muscle his way ahead of Rob Carroll. He managed to hit the wall there off turn number 4. Hopefully not too much damage to that number 8 car. Looks as though the damage gods played in his favor, barring that the suspension is favoring. Going back a ways to Zachary Thornton, who was closing in on our race lead prior to that caution. You can see here, we'll pull up the interval graphic, and 2.2 seconds. So he is not showing that speed earlier that he had. He did have a slower pit cycle as well. As you know, Jim Dover is probably, I'd throw it right up there with Darlington as the hardest pit road in motorsports, at least from an oval perspective. And he did have a 1 second slower time on pit road, which, you know, takes a 1 second lead on track, turns it into 2 after the cycle.
Well, this is one of those pit roads that used to be like 40 pit stalls long back when they had 43 Cup cars, and they extended it around into turn 4. That pavement down there is not as grippy as the concrete, so when you go down there, it's a slide for life. We've seen a lot of real-life incidents down there at pit entrance at Dover, and it's also one of the tightest pit roads. So if you're coming in with other vehicles and trying to race off and worry about who's got to pull into their pit box, who's pulling out, you're in some trouble, because it's quite tight down there, and very hard to get on at a good speed, and very hard to get off of pit road on the apron at a decent speed and make good time before you hit the concrete.
That's our 81 car of Brian Fratian. I think it's a Canadian flair on that, but he was the one that was the race leader, relinquished it. Here is Greg Snellgrove coming into the pits. A lot of lockup there. Dover, a track that speeding is super duper easy to do. And hopefully if you're Greg Snellgrove that you did not do that. So you see he is very focused getting down to his stall there. Make sure you don't overshoot the box. Typically at 35 miles an hour, it's nice and easy to do that. Now you get your only break of the race at Dover is that 10 seconds while that car is being serviced. But Rob Carroll will take over the provisional lead now by 0.8 of a second over Zachary Ward. Zachary Thornton now in third. And now we'll have to wait and see the shuffle. Patrick Colicchio in the 18 car, he was the first to pit of the guys who topped off earlier. He is now 1 lap down. He's middle of the back straightaway, and he's 1.5 laps down. So But the $1 million point is that even though he's a lap and a half down, when you are on a complete alternate strategy, you kind of have to trust the strategy, Jim. You can't worry about where you are in the moment, because eventually it should all work out if the plan works as you expect.
Well, the plan works out if the race stays green. If a caution comes out and you're a lap and a half down and you're not in the lucky dog spot, you probably don't want to take the wave around here, just considering tire wear and all that. I know I've just been harping on the fact that you're going to have to run like basically a double stint on the tires. But at the same time, you don't want to get caught a lap down and have to take the wave around where you can't take your second set of tires here. And, you know, we're not even quite to the halfway point yet. So a lot of work ahead for these guys. And you're starting to see a few more make their way back onto the lead lap. You're seeing a lot of cycling going on there with the running order. And all that time lost there for the 22 car was from staying out. Now, like you said, the strategy should work out, and on the back end, he should end up back ahead as long as there's not a caution.
Yeah, the Snellgrove, he is second right now of those who pitted, but he is, I believe, let's take a gander here. We have the 81 at the stripe. Yeah, so it looks like lost a fair bit of time. That's 3 laps on the board that Snellgrove lost to Brian. So basically, we have our overall leader right now. I'm kind of looking at this almost like a multi-class road course race for Pete's sake. Rob Carroll is the guy with the speed here today, and he was the pole sitter. He has led of these 96 laps. He's led 74 of them, and the only ones he didn't lead were via the pit cycle. He is the one who has the speed, but he is the one who is going to need to pit in approximately 40 laps, which would be 136. Now, 130, let's say if he can make it to 136, which is about 40 laps from now, that'd be 67 laps. He could make it to the end, but on fumes, so really, I guess it could work out. I don't know, Jim. That's why we just have to watch these things, let them see how they play out. Well,
you know, Snellgrove is turning laps that are over a second faster than Carroll in the lead there. And the rate that they're going, it's about 23, 24 laps that he should be back unlapped and to the rear bumper of the lead car. Of course, pit strategy and all that may change that, but in a perfect world with lap times staying consistent where they are, about 23, 24 laps, he should be right back to the back bumper of that machine.
Yep, and that'll be the thing to watch. All right, I'm gonna. I've had my drink. I've got my cough out because I've had allergies for a few weeks. Rob Carroll pulled the stint tracker. It's already up 30 laps. Longest I've seen is 67. So let's say he can go to 37 more laps. That's 137. So theoretically, they can make it to the end from their next pit stop. It will be razor thin close, but they can do it. And then you have, again, the other guys who pitted a little while ago who will be able to do it with a lot more ease, a lot more breathing room there. But I guess if the guys up front can do it, even if it's razor thin, I guess the edge still kind of lies with them in the end of it. But again, this is all contingent of this going green, and at Dover, you can never be too sure if a race is going to go green. It is the Monster Mile for a reason. You know, one scratch of your nose that gets itchy, you know, you put yourself in the fence. A lapper who gets loose in front of you, you're in the fence. So it has the vibes of a green flag race, but at the same time, you can never count your chickens too early here.
Well, this is one of those tracks where you can just break loose coming out of the corner by blinking your eye. So you got to be 100% focused the entire time that you're here. Lapped cars get in the way, things like that will happen, and somebody could end up going for a spin. Hopefully not. I'd like to see it play out green and see who has the upper hand when it's all said and done. I think Rob Carroll's definitely got the fastest car here. I think on equal tires or on equal footing with everybody having to make one more stop, I think the 2 car is going to be the car to beat here at Dover.
Yeah, I expect that to be the case too, but of course that's why we have to keep watching here. Again, this is race number 3. Our winner in race number 1 was Brady Floyd in the 20 and a 1/1000th of a second finish, the closest race I've ever streamed here anyways. I know people have had a complete tie, but basically as close to a photo finish as you can get. Zachary Ward winning race number 2, and then let's see what happens here. Race number 3. Race number 4 will be next week, where we head to the new Pseudo Super Speedway at Atlanta for 130 lappers. So again, some great racing there. And then in 2 weeks' time, we head to Road America, a track that many are still upset about, that is no longer on the schedule. It packed 110,000 people, and they still cut it off the schedule. But we'll still go there in virtual terms for the first road course race in 2 weeks, so we'll see what happens there. And I have to be careful not to let you get too excited on that topic, Jim, because I will have a podcast on the NASCAR schedule if I'm not careful.
Oh, man, you get rid of one of the best, most picturesque road courses on the schedule for the most picturesque street course on the schedule, and put on a race with a virtual monsoon on America's birthday weekend. And you just have a recipe for success with that. So hopefully year 2 is as exciting as year 1. And more exciting than the politics and mudslinging going on over that event.
And I know there's still, I mean, it is confirmed, it's on the schedule, but I knew the politics that they have a certain date there. Is Kyle Mundell and Wes Gallo having a good battle off turn number 4 here. Mundell still looking to the inside of that Yahoo Toyota of Gallo, but I want to say it was January 30th is the last date that they can theoretically cancel before they basically, the city has to buy out NASCAR. So we'll see what happens. I know they're keeping Chicagoland Speedway dusted off and pretty, just in case it's on the back burner there. But we will see what happens. But looking forward to coming there in a few weeks' time. And then we head to after that we head to Gateway, Dega, Kansas, and Phoenix. And by that time, Jim, and I know for your leagues as well that you run, we're going to have some major changes to the iRacing service as of early December rather. So anything that these guys know could very well be thrown out the window in a few weeks' time on that new build.
I might have to join you for that Kansas race. They have a casino there on the property like they do here. That's really where I was. I got caught up in a good game, so all good over there, but some great tracks coming up on the schedule. One thing about Dover that we have not talked about yet, Corey, is the fact that with the concrete, you would think that this would race like a super speedway style Bristol or like a smaller national super speedway. It doesn't race like either of the other 2 concrete tracks. In fact, all 3 concrete tracks race in completely different manners and have completely different styles to how to get around them. As we see the leader catching some lap traffic, we see cars on fresher tires passing the leader here in the mid portion of this event.
Yeah, right now we have our battle tracker on screen right now. You can see Rob Carroll's we're on board with Thornton, who has been consistently running about a tenth faster, and this is what he was doing on the first, and he has that super long run car where he can take that 2-second gap and get it down to a second. But unfortunately on the he kind of stabilized there on the first run. He stabilized right around 1 second, and that's just kind of the annoyance of having a long run car, is you lose so much time on the opening part of the stint that a lot of times it's hard to get that back when your car shines, particularly in these races where you do have a limited fuel load.
Yeah, and the long runs at Dover, they feel like real long runs. This is a very physically demanding track, and the drivers get tired as the race goes on, and things wear out. So these long runs they feel really long to the drivers. But the thing about the long runs and having a long run car at Dover, it's all about momentum, and it's all about being consistent lap after lap. And this is one of the hardest tracks to do that at.
It is. I know I've had some good runs here in my past. I've also, put myself in the fence on many occasions here. But before the next pit cycle happens, and while things are pretty well spread out, we're going to go side by side here for a little bit and take a little breather, but you won't miss a thing. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Now, Brady Floyd in the 20, who has he had a fast car, well, no longer. And I will say, I don't know if it'll show up on the feed, but I saw debris fly more than I've ever seen debris fly in my life here on the iRacing service. Whoa! That is called a tire or a hardware failure?
Yeah, that has the look of a right front tire going down, the way that the car went in the corner and then just shot to the right and right into the wall. That was a very hard hit.
Yeah, one more look here from the onboard, and he's cutting down, and then, oof! And then look at there was a piece of debris. That hood, yep. Now watch the hood. I swear, on the original, oh yeah, that was rather interesting there. That hood kind of zinged and zagged in a very interesting manner, but unfortunate for Brady Floyd. We don't have any backup cars here within the series. They just got one, and if you ruin it, well, you ruin it. So that's what we got here tonight. So he was able to keep it off of the track, and Barney the flagman just let him wave. So we're just going to be waiting for that next pit cycle here, but I guess what we can do now is we'll go through the field and let you know where your favorite driver may be running. Rob Carroll is our race leader here in that number 2 car from the pole position. Zachary Thornton in second. We have Zachary Ward in third. Kyle Mundell in the 34. He has been up and down here today, but a 4th place effort at present. 5th is Wes Gallo. He's been right around that 5th place run all day. You can see he is trying to get, I think he just got lapped actually by our race leader. Brian Fratian there, he is the first on the alternate strategy. He has the freshest tires. He is very near lapping himself. Brandon Fiedler in the 7th position right here. Patrick Colicchio in 8th. Matt Moreau in 9th. And then rounding out our top 10 is Greg Snellgrove. And then just going through the last few remaining guys on track. Looks like Snellgrove may be having some issues. He's rather slow. We'll keep an eye on that. Tyler Hallahan in 11th, Taylor Ott in 12th, getting a little ahead of myself. Brady Floyd in 13th, and I don't expect him to see back out. And actually, he's the last guy on track. Everybody else, Vossi, Mulvania, Murphy, Vandermark, and Olsen, all have since retired from the event.
During that exchange, we saw Carroll there lapping the 07 of Ward. And you saw the dirty air. Carroll was not able to run the line that he wanted to. Thornton closed in a little bit, not too far behind.
Yeah, he's within that 7/10. He's been hovering, 1.1, 1.2. But as you said, that traffic, and last time by, Carroll turned the jets on a little bit, managed to pull ahead by about a 1/10 of a second on that lap to help even it out there. But look at Kyle Mundell in that 34 car. He was in that 7/10 of a second bracket. You have Brian Fratian there. He was right up there, but we expect that because he does have some fresher Goodyears on. But making note of Mundell there, but unfortunately for Mundell, he is all the way back in. He's in 4th, but he's 18 seconds off the lead, so really needing that caution. And again, no stage cautions, no cautions for manufactured purposes here, I guess if you want to say it that way. We are running au naturel here, and just waiting on the next set of pit stops, which should be within 10 laps for our race leaders.
Yeah, we've definitely watched the race pace drop by a little bit under 1.5 seconds with Carroll and Thornton up there now running in the 24.7s and 24.8 second brackets there. So the race pace has slowed. We're getting towards the end of that run where we think we're going to have that run to the finish, and we'll see who makes that run and who gets on pit road first. Getting on pit road first is one of the keys to any kind of racing on iRacing these current days. You want to make sure that you're the first driver to make your last stop.
All right, now we do have one driver who has Brady Floyd, as a matter of fact, who he's already cut his feed, but we can at least have a brief little interview of him to see what happened, because we couldn't figure out with Brady Floyd in that 20 if it was a hardware failure or if it was actually a tire going out here. So let me just go ahead and get him situated up here. Oop. There we go. All right, it's Brady, it's Corey and Jim in the booth. You got us?
Yes, sir. Got a copy.
All right, so from our perspective, we couldn't tell. It was either a hardware failure or a right front tire, but that thing hit the fence with a massive amount of authority. What was the thing that did you in there?
Well, unfortunately, you missed the first one. Somehow, some way, I've never had it happen before, but during that first run, I think I had just made a pass for P4, and my computer froze me for about 10 seconds in place.
I did catch that, actually, because when you came back, you just beelined in the fence with really no warning.
Yeah. Well, that is what happened. So I've never had that happen, but I've had like stutters before, but maybe for a quarter of a second, and that one was for so long I thought it was just gonna, I guess, kick me out of the session. So I had let go of my wheel. But yeah, we got in the wall there. Got some wheel damage, which was killing the right front. So tried to do our best to make do, and then another freeze this time didn't keep me in place. And I think we shot pretty straightforward into the outside wall, from what I understand. Well, it's actually showing it to me on the replay. Wow, that was violent.
Yeah, and there was a piece of debris that just flew rather vigorously off turn two. Kind of amusing there. Hopefully it wasn't the camera feed that did it for you. If it was, I do have alternatives next week, man. But overall, what's the biggest thing that these guys are working on? I know the tires here, only 2 sets on the wall for a long race. What's the biggest challenge that everyone's going to be facing here in tonight's efforts for the remainder of it?
Well, I think one thing we really got to look at is fuel mileage. I know, I'm pretty sure Rob, our leader, is pitting right now, right?
Yes, he is. With 66 to go. It should be a pretty long stretch.
I think that's the absolute max you can make it on fuel. So I'd expect to see a lot of guys coming right now, and then we'll see if they can make it from here. I would expect so, maybe with a tiny bit of saving, but it's just all tire management here to the end. So fingers crossed for these boys. I hope they have a good last stint. I hope someone out there is saving a set of tires, so if we get a late race yellow, maybe they can get back onto the lead lap and take that. But I don't really know if there's even an opportunity to do that, because looking at it right now, I think once we cycle out, we might only have like
only 2 sets.
3 or 4 guys on the lead lap, so they'd have to time it perfectly and have the caution timing be perfect. So
yeah, well, the cycle seems to be working out now. Unfortunately, not in your favor here today, but we'll see what you can do we'll see what you can do at Hotlanta next week, man. So
yeah,
we'll catch you there.
Fingers crossed. Yes, sir. All right, y'all have a good night.
Too. So a cumulative effort there. I don't know if you caught it, Jim, but he had an issue, as he said, where connectivity issues did him in, and he hit the wall once. That made the suspension mad, which inadvertently made the tire mad, and eventually it made it real mad there, which took him out of the efforts.
Yeah, absolutely. You can bounce a right rear off the wall, bend the toe link a little bit, and really upset the handling on the car where the right front ends up blowing out. And you never would think that would make any sense, but it sure does with these new cars, and a lot of technology gremlins here at Dover tonight. But man, Rob Carroll made that pit stop. He locked it up a little bit getting on. Obviously didn't have any kind of speeding penalty in doing so, getting there onto pit road. And away he goes at the current moment.
Yep, Thornton back there. Going to take a gander on the intervals here. Thornton has 1 second, which is probably the closest he's been at the start of a stint. So I still think that the 35 has the long run pace, but he just hasn't had enough long run pace to fully eat into the gap, although he can slightly work his way into it there. And Zachary Ward, the other guy of real note in this race, he is well back there in 6th. But as we were talking about, the top 3 are the ones that they can pit any time. Brian Fratian there, he can go another 15, maybe 12, 13 laps. Colicchio, he can go another 8 laps maybe. Moreau back there, he can go another 10. So they can make it without saving. They can go full bore. They'll have the fresher tires and full potential fuel. But as we talked about with Brady, Carroll there, who pit with 67 to go. If there's no caution, he's going to have to save. We'll go on board here and see if he's starting early with it at all. Doesn't look like he's trying to clear. Nope, he's running by himself, and I don't think he's going full bore right now, Jim.
Yeah, I don't think so. His lap times are quite a bit slower than what they've been. He's 0.4 off his fastest lap of the race. Now we're on the freshest tires. The track is probably the fastest that it's been all race long right now, and he's 0.4 off on very fresh tires, less than 10 laps. So probably not giving it 100%, probably giving it about 95% here as he goes around. And part of that is he just doesn't want to put himself in a situation where the car breaks loose or he bobbles and ends up in the wall. I mean, you got a second lead, you may as well take advantage of it. It's a second you got over the guy behind you.
Yeah, exactly that. And typically these races, Jim, I know we've all been in them in some capacity where they go green, they string out. Typically, there's always kind of a guy who you expect is going to come out on top, and it's kind of just waiting for the inevitable. But you can't say that today with Carroll, because Thornton is close enough, and he's actually closing even more. The gap is between the two of them is now only 3/4 of a second. So Carroll can't just run and be patient. He can't just ultra save, because he does have to keep that 35 behind him, and that 35 is within pouncing range.
Yeah, he's inching just a little bit closer. If I'm Matt Moreau, I think I'm coming down pit road now just to get the fresher tires and try to unlap myself at the very least, but try to make up a little bit of ground on the two car. And then these guys that are out front, Coluccio, as soon as he gets passed by Rob Carroll, he's got to come to pit road. He's going to give it up here. Yeah. But what I was going to say was, as soon as he gets passed, he needs to just come to pit road and just minimize the loss.
Exactly.
Because they're 50-some laps into a tire run, and you're just not going to make anything up. Actually, I take that back. He's 64 laps on that tire run.
Now, I'm still trying to figure out here. I mean, this could just be my ignorance here, as a little kiss to the wall there for the 81. Still waiting for his pit stop. I don't know if the league rule is that they have to pit into 3. We know at Dover you can just fly off the banking and try to drive straight in. I've done it both successfully and unsuccessfully, but we've seen a few drivers peeling in off of 3, running the apron, kind of the old IndyCar style back when IndyCar raced here, which was back in the 99, I think the last one was. So if you do take that conservative route, of course it's going to be safer, but you may cost yourself a few seconds in the exchange there, as we do have closest battle for the lead we've had all race. Thornton within 0.2 of a second of Carroll.
Well, that's still for second, so we're still waiting on the 81 car to come down pit road, but let's face it, let's write the paper off here, and that is the battle for the lead here.
Yes, I did kind of forget that part of it myself. Once you kind of, your brain just omits the inevitable, but I do think that, I thought he was going to slow it up there, 81. If this is lap 61, so that answers my question. You can peel off here. That's kind of a more standard Dover approach, and a little lock up there, but nothing of significance. Hopefully he got down to the speed limit. So he had about a 4-second lead at the time of pitting, so he's going to go about 1 3/4 laps down. He'll be able to get a fair amount of it back just with the fresh tires, and he'll get a lot more of it back if these guys don't have enough fuel. And think of it in this context, Jim. We're going to go. If there's any person in the world I could talk to, is Carroll into the fence. First time he's made a chronic mistake all race.
You're going to have to watch that toe link.
Yeah, we've seen it in the real world. We've seen it in the sim, what that can do. Rob Carroll there is full bore. That's as focused as you could physically get. But like I said, if there's any person in the world I can tell a NASCAR reference to, and they'll get it. 2009 Michigan. What happened with Jimmy Johnson and Greg Biffle? They both were running low on fuel. They both knew they had to save. They both couldn't stop racing each other, ran themselves out of fuel. Third place went and won the race. They both probably need to save, and I don't think they're going to. I think they're probably going to race each other to running out.
Well, there's that old adage that the race pace is high when you're racing by yourself and have a nice clean track, but when you're racing with another car, your pace comes down just a little bit. You slow down, and you lose that 100% of the track as you're racing with somebody. Even if they're in your mirror, they're 2 car lengths back. They're there just enough to bother you that you're just not hitting the optimum line every single turn.
Yeah, very well the case. And what Carroll could do, which could be actually happening, let's take a look at the lap times. And 23.8s, 23.9s, they are still about a half second off their time, but that's to be expected about 20 laps into a stint. Carroll can back off the pace, and Thornton will be thinking in his head, all right, well, clearly he's not going full bore, so I guess I should probably do that too and make sure I have enough. But I don't think that's the case now, because that's contact. He turns him.
Oh, no, and the caution is out.
Now, the positive is that he didn't wreck and he only lost 1 spot. The negative is that, well, this entire race is upside down right now. And first of all, Carroll's not going to be happy, but well, let's go take a look at the replay and then we'll dissect the consequences of what's going to happen here. On board with the rear deck lid cam, looking back from the spoiler to Thornton here. I mean, he just got, I mean, I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, because I'm gonna say that Thornton entered the corner at a normal rate of speed, and I'm going to say that Carroll entered the corner at a I'm kind of cruising to save fuel rate of speed, and they met in the middle.
Absolutely. It is absolutely what I believe happened there. I don't think there was any intent to turn him. I don't think there was any intent to bump into him. It was just a matter of Carroll was saving a little bit, probably just going about 90-95%, and Thornton was still going 100%, and just didn't expect the little bit of checkup there that we had.
And so we'll take a gander at what is occurring right now. We have 3 guys on the lead lap, Thornton, Carroll, and Ward. Actually, I think Kyle Bundell is, he's the lucky dog, so he's going to be kept the 4th. And we're going to have Fiedler, Gallo, and Frati on there, who are 1 lap down. But because nobody is pitting, the pits have already been open. Since nobody's pitting, they are not going to get the wave around. So that negates those fresh tires that, you know, those a couple other guys have. They're negated. They can't take advantage. They cannot get back on the lead lap. So they're going to have to do it the old-fashioned way and then hope for another caution. But also, this may be enough assurance to give, you know, Thornton, Carroll, and Mandel enough, you know, clearance in the tank to make this with a little bit more certainty.
Yeah, I don't know if I agree with staying out. I think I would have came in and even a splash of fuel here, or you know, a gallon.
Yeah, there's no tires, but yeah, top off.
Yeah, top off, just in case it's high banked. The fuel does slosh down to the left side, and you want to try to get it. I believe the pickups in these are still on the right hand side because of the banking and the centrifugal force, but you probably don't want to run the thing that low on fuel at the end. If you can get 66 laps,
particularly with only 3 guys on the lead lap, like what's the fear of just topping it off? Yeah, I'm fully in agreement with that, but that's rather here nor there. But I think we have enough time to just do a quick little interview here. All right, Zach, it's Corey and Jim in the booth. You got us, bud?
Yep, gotcha.
All right, so obviously a little contact there with Rob. It seemed pretty painless there, the ultimate outcome there. But interested that you guys stayed out, being so tight on the fuel. Are you fully comfortable with your what you got in the tank to finish this thing out?
Yeah, I'm pretty comfortable. If I were him, I'd be more concerned because he pitted a lot before me. But I feel pretty comfortable. Obviously, no other tire sets to pit for, which 2 tire sets for this super long race is an interesting choice. But playing with cards and just barely gonna have enough, I think. So yeah, I feel pretty good. Yeah, that's just a little bit of a racing deal, I think. I was looking to make a move and maybe just made it a little bit too late. Maybe turned in early, I'm not sure. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, we thought maybe he was saving, you were going full bore, and you guys just met in the middle there. But ultimately, he didn't have any damage. He'll go back at it. You're not worried that he'll be unhappy towards you on the restart, are you?
I don't know. I don't think it'll matter because I'll have the clean air now, hopefully. So hopefully just pull right on away from him.
All right. Well, let's get back to your team. I'm not gonna lie, I forgot which team you are. Which one was that?
Adra.
All right. Well, let's get back at it, man, and good luck for the rest of it.
Thank you.
So
well, an interesting choose there. I don't know if I would have given the guy that I just tagged and turned that was ahead of me the inside going down into turn one unless Zachary thinks he's going to get a huge run and advantage off of the line here.
Well, as I said in the pre-race, these tracks with the restart zones in the corners are so advantageous to the leader that I think he's probably going to clear pretty easily. I've not seen many of these tracks, Bristol, Dover, where the opposite guy gets a good run, but there's always one time. Maybe it's this time. Maybe Carroll will be up on his game here, entering the restart zone, both on the throttle. Changing lanes very early there, but look at that loss there. Huge wheel spin from Carroll. He is completely out to lunch. Something wrong with that car.
Yeah, he spun the tires. There's no shame in coming down pit road when you have that opportunity. Check the car over, make sure there's no damage. The worst he was going to do is fall to where he's running now, and I just don't understand that. I would have came in, got the car checked out, and probably topped it off with fuel just to ensure that I could make it to the end. You never know.
And he did.
There could be somebody running out on the last lap, and you don't want it to be you.
He did hit the wall at least once or twice before that too. So there may be 10 seconds or so of optional damage that he did not take heed to there. But he's now behind Ward, so just losing him even more speed there. Ward is kind of. I mean, I'd have to think, Jim, here. I mean, I know some people don't get to watch the race, but do I want to do spoilers here and kind of inadvert things that happen in the real world race? I'm going to say yes. Larson was kind of... No?
Nah, we'll just talk about aero blocking, though, and how aero blocking is now a thing. And it is a real thing on iRacing. Taking the lane away from the guy behind you and taking the clean air off of his nose, whether it's the high line, the inside. If that guy's making up time on you, you want to take his lane away at some point and throw the dirty air at him. It just throws a huge bubble of dirty air right at that car and kicks it back 2-3 tenths right off the bat.
Yeah, it's really, especially on corner entry, you may be able to evade and, maybe run a little high, run a little low. 18 car, that's Colicchio there. He is well off of the pace here. He is 2 laps down as things stand, but you can a lot of times evade the dirty air on corner entry, but particularly here at a track like Dover, it's not like Phoenix where you kind of have different exits. You're kind of funneling down to the same lane on corner exit. So when you do have the guy dump that dirty air on you as you're funneling on corner exit, it really tightens you up and really makes it risky to get off the corner without hitting the wall.
And that's a really risky move there by Colicchio going down there underneath like that. You could break loose. The next thing you know, you're sliding up the hill on the correction and you're wiping the guy out of second place. You got to be really careful with that, especially when you're not even a lap down, you're 2 laps down. So you really don't want to put yourself into that situation. But I think he thinks he has a fast enough car, and he definitely has fresher tires than just about anybody around him. So, I mean, he could have the car to get himself 1 lap down and put himself in position for the lucky dog. But time will tell. It's going to take a long run here to get there. And his laps are just winding down.
Yeah, Dover is a track where the laps do tick off here. My estimator here in the background says about 14 minutes left of racing. I don't know how he races in that dark of a room. My aging eyeballs would drive me nuts if I did that, just because, I don't know, I just need the light on, but it helps him focus perhaps as he's in 8th, first car 2 laps down. You have Wes Gallo, the last car 1 lap down. He is battling, that is a live battle for the 6th spot, him and Wes Gallo, both of which I think maybe hit the fence there, but less so for Gallo. Takes a look to the inside here, and Gallo washes all the way up and really forces Fiedler into that 3rd lane here, but he's gonna fall back in line there. Gallo maybe got a little tight there driving in too deep.
Yeah, there's really not a third lane here. You have lane 1 and lane 2, and anything above that, it's pretty rough. There's a lot of marbles up there. Track gets slick. There's not a lot of grip, but I guess the biggest news here in the last couple minutes is you must be sleeping with the Tony the Tiger nightlight, Corey.
I mean, I like a little bit of light. I mean, no, it's weird. If I'm going to bed, I need full darkness. Like, you know, I cannot have the TV on, nothing. But if I can't stare at a screen in pitch black. I don't know. I just get headaches, but that's rather here nor there. As looks like Wes Gallo will get the spot from Fiedler. Fiedler gets right to the back bumper. He's going to go for the crossover attempt. I'm not going to go down without a fight. He's going to dive down to the bottom. He's not going to drive up as high as Gallo did in that same situation. Gallo going to rock the outside, get the run off, and Wes Gallo will get up to 6th. He will be the lucky dog recipient if the gods do allow a yellow flag, which I don't really think anybody's expecting, but it can come out.
Yeah, that 39 car, really cool looking color on that thing. One of my favorites. And he was getting loose out of the corner. I don't know if you caught that. It was 2 laps ago now. Oh. He got right there, and I think he might have just tagged the wall. He may be having one of those push to loose situations where you're just so tight that you got a lot of wheel into it. And sideways, there he goes again.
Yep, he has a little bit of right front damage, too. You can see a little bit of crinklage, if such a word exists, on that right front. So there, you know, it may be 90. That camera really shows it really well. So that will add to it.
Yeah, you know, the right rear is the most important corner on these race cars. They say the right front on the trucks, at least, really doesn't matter according to what happened at Phoenix on Friday night.
Yeah, that race should change some rules. I don't think it will. Kyle Mundell hits the fence there. He is in 4th place here. So worth noting up front, Thornton and Carroll separated by about 1 1/4 seconds. There is a lap down car in the mix of them. And it looks as though Carroll running a little bit faster, but that may be due to the aero wash of, I think that was Matt Moreau in the middle. Getting around a lot of these lappers here, but last time by basically dead equal. And Zachary Ward, again, running laps comparable to the top 2, but just far enough back that I just don't think it's going to have any effect. But here's the, Jim, this is the toughest part about being a commentator, especially in these races. So I'm going to pull up my stint graphic, and you can see Zachary Ward, he pitted 18 laps ago. So my assertion is that he has fresher tires than the guys in front of him, but I don't have any telemetry way to prove that. I have to go solely on memory, and I don't remember. So he has pitted later. It may have been for fuel, it may have been for tires, because if he has 20 laps fresher tires, I can't believe he hasn't passed these guys yet.
Yeah, I think he came down pit road for fuel only there on that caution, because that was about when that caution was. The 2 car is getting absolutely sideways. The problem there for the 8 car is going to be the fact that his entire run on those tires, well, the entire run since the restart, has been in dirty air. There's been zero opportunity to get that nose out in real clean air and have an opportunity to have the optimum handling. His car has been tight this entire run, and it just wears that right front tire out the entire time that you're going there in the dirty air.
Yeah, and that's what happens. And you know, some tracks you can go into different lanes and evade. Other tracks like here, you really can't. And as we have ascertained a little bit earlier, and Carroll getting really free there, that'll cost him a few tenths there. That is Taylor Otten, who is now 3 laps down, but still in 10th, just behind that. We got information from Greg Hill, one of the senior vice president high up on the ladder people from iRacing, saying the oval refresh coming in the December build. So if you are around circa 2018, as that's Zachary Ward not helping his causes out there. If you were around circa 18-19, you remember the track got hot, the bottom got hot, so what did you do? You went to the top. The top got hot, what did you do? You went even higher. And then you went to the middle, and then you maybe went back to the bottom, and then you tried to hit that little lane right on the bottom, or maybe you went, like, you had to follow the grip, and allegedly that is coming back, Jim. And as we talked about earlier, Here at Dover, it really came into play. I remember Martinsville, I would rock the curb, or I'm going up to the edge of the concrete. Really can't wait to see how dynamic this is going to be for the racing, and it's also going to help out with the aero push and all we've been talking about.
I think the track that's going to have the biggest difference at, the two tracks that's going to have the biggest impact at are going to be Homestead, Miami, and I think Michigan. Homestead has been, let's face it, in the sim, it's been kind of broken for the last, I don't know, 5-6 years. It's been a bottom lane. Sometimes you get up on the outside. They had that little air bubble thing that they came out with a couple of years ago where you could run on the wall and just kind of like kiss the wall with the right rear corner, and it handled fine. But Michigan and Auto Club to some extent are two other tracks that are just going to benefit so much from being able to use multiple lanes and have the actual rubber temperature and the vehicle temperature, the surface temperature, all that come into play into creating multiple groups. Michigan's a great track where if you go and see a race there in person, they're 4 or 5 wide at times, 3 wide through the corners. Oh. And you don't see that on the sim. You see them all the way down plugged at the bottom, kind of like here at Dover. This is a multi-groove racetrack for real.
I saw on Twitter, this was back, well, I'm sorry, on X as it's deemed now, back when the Pro Invitational happened there, as that was Colicchio getting back into the race leader there. Not too sure what that was all about. But when they were getting Fox ready for the Pro Invitational for the first race, one of the big iRacing guys was helping out with Fox. And Jeff Gordon actually asked prior to the broadcast, why are they all running the bottom? And he said it was so defeating to tell them because the sim is broken and you can't run multi-lanes. And he had to explain to Jeff Gordon that iRacing was broken. So hopefully that is no longer going to be the case, but we still do have a few weeks of that. As I kind of go back to our schedule, our first week that is kind of post-build will be Talladega, so that's kind of useless. But the 17th at Kansas will probably be the first week that we'll get to see if that works here within this league. So we'll have to jot down on our calendars for that. As all that banter aside, we're now within 15 laps to go with the finish. Our race leader is navigating some heavy traffic, but Carroll, perhaps from those wall contacts, did that car in. Now back of 2.3 seconds, and who knows, maybe Ward will actually close that in for second.
Yeah, the 18 car is being a thorn in the side to our leader. He's he's filling the mirror, both sides, and man, if I'm the race leader, if I'm the race leader, I do not want to see that lap car going side to side in my rear view mirror and just bouncing back and forth. It's very distracting. It keeps your eyes off the road ahead, which is where you really want to be looking here as you're still navigating traffic. But that 18 car is just side to side, showing that he has a faster car, pressure tires there for sure, and really could have been a force to be reckoned with had this race played out just a little bit differently for him.
Yeah, remember we heard during Brady Floyd's interview, and I'm not putting my hat in the ring. I'm just going off what he was told, what he told us, where it was quote unquote interesting to only have 2 tires for this race. You kind of wonder where it would have went if there was 3 sets of tires and the decisions to be made. But it really tests the long runability of these guys, and pushing fuel loads to their absolute maximum. And we didn't see what we thought, which is there was going to be a missed stint because these guys stretched it so far, and the cautions were placed at that perfect time to allow us to have these perfect runs. But we are still going to have a 67 lap run to the end for Carroll and Thornton, but we are using that caution as the most likely reason to believe that they should be okay, but I don't know if he's going to have burnout fuel in the tank for Thornton.
I don't know if he's going to have enough fuel to make it around under full power from the backstretch. I believe my math, which was never really my strong suit, but they've gotten better with age with it. I think he's going to run out on the last lap, and I think it's going to be somewhere between turn 2 and turn 4.
So I'm trying to think of the first stint. I saw 67 laps, but we had 2 cautions in the first stint, and that allowed someone to go 67 laps. We had 1 caution this time, and they have to go 67 laps. So I guess, as you're kind of saying, the math is not mathing to where you can't go the same amount of distance if you don't have the same amount of cautions, unless you're hypermiling. And they're not hypermiling. They're still running 24 fives, which is what you'd expect on 60-lap tires. But I'm also going to use the line that you'd have to think that the drivers are smart enough to know the position they're in, and if you know you can't make it, you'd probably already have pitted, and if you know you can make it, but it's going to be close, you'd think maybe they'd back down, especially if you have a 3.5-second lead. So I'm going to assume 35 knows what he's doing, and that he thinks he has an ample amount in the tank, because he's still driving fast and pulling away.
Well, you know, one thing that we're not taking into consideration is the fact that with the slowdown from the tire wear, the natural slowdown on the older tires,
less fuel.
You don't use as much fuel. So yeah, you're probably using 80 to 85, maybe 90% of the fuel per lap that you would be using 30 laps ago.
Yep, so that all adds up, and you know, they do have the ability within iRacing to have the sim calculate the amount of fuel they need, and it's relatively accurate on how many laps you have left. I said relatively. The auto fuel, I will never use it again. We've talked about that in some personal races we've done, but the estimator, I do seem it to be pretty accurate, the one that they have in sim, and some drivers will use third-party fuel apps, which is kind of akin to having a fuel manager giving you even more finite detail. So usually these drivers you don't see guys running out on iRacing as much as they used to. You also don't see guys running out in the real world as much as they used to. Guys are just getting a lot better with the numbers here. But we're coming down to 3 laps to go, so if anything's going to happen, it's going to happen within about 3 minutes time here, 4.2 seconds, and Carroll, as he said, he had 1 lap less fuel than even Thornton, and he is really dropping, and I really don't know if he's going to hang on to second.
Yeah, that has the look of being either out of fuel or the pickup just being really low on fuel, and maybe the car's starting to sputter and stutter a little bit as it goes around here, because he has lost a lot of time in the last handful of laps.
Yeah, you will around, I think, a half a gallon, I want to say. The iRacing fuel tank will start to give you some issues once you get to around a half gallon. But it's rather here nor there. No caution will come out. No green-white checkers. Barney's going to have the flag in hand, and he's going to wave that white flag here around the Monster Mile for Zachary Thornton. Took the lead by a little bit of contact, probably not the way he would have liked to, as we kind of predicted. Just kind of met in the middle there with 2 different strategies at play, but ever since he's had the lead, it has been his, up by 5 seconds, and I don't see any fuel issues coming his way. Led 47 laps. It'll be 48 at the stripe. Coming off corner number 4, the flagman in hand, and then Zachary Thornton going to win round number 2. Back-to-back wins for the 35 here in the North American Asphalt Series, presented by 921 Mobile DJ. Carroll did stay and hold off Ward for second. And then Mundell and Fratian there will round out our top 5.
What an exciting race, Corey. That was intense there. He had a big lead, but I really thought he was going to run out of fuel.
Yeah, these races with limited fuel load, limited tires, it really puts the driver back into play, where it's not just go to the wall, it's you really need to make critical decisions. And it worked out for Thornton. This is, again, back-to-back wins. He won at Michigan in thrilling fashion this week. He wins in thrilling fashion this week, albeit not in a photo finish, but in a breathtaker on the fuel mileage stopwatch there. So congratulations go to him. He's going to finish doing his celebrating. And we're going to wrap up tonight's coverage, go down and give you the final rundown of results here today from the Dover Motor Speedway. Getting that win, final margin, 5.9 seconds. Thornton's going to get it over Carroll, with Zachary Ward getting in third. Kyle Mundell in fourth. Brian Fratian in fifth. Wes Gallo finished sixth here tonight. Seventh is Brandon Fiedler. Patrick Colicchio in eighth. Matt Moreau in ninth. And then rounding out our top 10 is Taylor Otten. Jim for the remainder.
All right, we had Tyler Hallahan in the 11th position. I'm really going to butcher some of these names. Matt Bovania, they're in the 12th position in car number 3, the Dale Earnhardt, Kevin Harvick machine there. Greg Snellgrove, he was up front early on in the 22 and finished 72 laps down in 13th. Brady Floyd after that hard hit, 14th. Nathan Vossi there, 15th. Brett Murphy in 16th, Cade Vandermark in 17th, and Cody Olson rounds out our field 180 laps down in the 18th position.
And that was our first caution of the race, if memory does serve here. But we got these guys queued up here and ready to speak to for interviews here. So I'll head right down to Victory Circle here. I think there he is. He's hanging around here with his team, but you can't hang around with your team when you won the race, man. You got to go ahead and talk to us. So, Zach, we talked to you about 20 laps ago. Well, I don't know, 20 minutes ago, something on those lines, and you were nervous about the fuel, but clearly it wasn't a case. And then Carroll had issues and dropped back into oblivion here. So back-to-back wins, man. How does it feel?
Pretty good, yeah. I'm pretty happy with it. I felt pretty confident going into Dover. I do like the short tracks. Even though Dover it's kind of chaotic. It's not really short track, but whatever. But yeah, I'm really happy to win this one 2 in a row. It's pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, so I know obviously it was tight on fuel there, and I know the tire situation was rather interesting. So did you kind of expect what inevitably was going to happen, like knowing how tight everything is, knowing the limited fuel and tire capacity? Did you kind of go into today's race with a mindset of, oh God, we're going to have to stretch it, it's going to be really tough to drive?
Yeah, well, I kind of figured that it would be fuel when we got into the grid for the race, and it was like right around like 60-something laps that we had of gas for like a full tank. So I was like, that's gonna be pretty close. So I was hoping for a few cautions, which we did get. So after we got those few cautions, I felt pretty good about it. Still not like 100%, but I felt pretty good. I don't even know what it ended with the race. I don't think it was that close at all. The other thing was the tire sets. I mean, only having 2 really definitely threw things off. 2 sets to put on. I mean, that's not a lot at Dover. So yeah, definitely pretty happy that made it the whole way. I think nobody had issues, so that's good. Glad to get a good race.
And one final question. So we started the race we started the season at a draft track. We went to Michigan, which is basically a draft track. A little week off here, but back to a draft track. Atlanta next week. What's the comfort level heading there?
No comfort. It's Atlanta. It's gonna be a mess. Yeah.
Appreciate the confidence.
That's not good news. Just try and hope for good luck, I guess. That's all I'm gonna have to do.
Well, it's on your side. We'll see if you can go. I think the bowling adage, it's a turkey if you go 3 in a row. So we'll see if you can do that. Even though your confidence isn't there for it, man. Congrats on the win.
All right. Thank you.
All right. And now second place, Jib. You think you can handle an interview?
Oh, absolutely.
All right, so we'll bring in the booth Rob Carroll. I think we got the video feed for you as well.
Hey, how you doing, Zach? Or wait, Corey.
Third
hey,
take,
Rob,
Jim.
It's Jim here from PTR TV. Man, you look like you had the car to beat there for a good portion of the middle part of this race, and then things just started to fall apart. Before the contact, Corey and I were talking that the speeds had dropped down. We were real curious. Were you saving? Were you backing off a little bit early, or were you going full bore?
No, I was saving. I kept going about a 10th to the good, 10th to the bad, 10th to the good, and so that's kind of where the contact between me and Zach was. I don't know. I was slow rolling it through the corner a little bit, just trying to minimize my on throttle time in there to try and have enough for the end, and it didn't work out in that turn.
Jim, we were right. We actually guessed right. I just had to intermittent that. It doesn't happen very often.
Oh my, yes. I mean, hey, commentators usually miss the whole point. Just walk us through that as you're leading, and suddenly you feel contact from behind and the car starts sliding. Can you walk us through that moment of your race?
Number one thing was don't hit the wall, and that was the biggest thing I was concerned about. And can't be mad at Zach by no means. That's racing. It's Dover. We had a really good race tonight, I thought. Everyone drove pretty respectfully and clean, sometimes tracks like this, you never know how it's going to go. So I was pleased with the overall performance of everyone and had a lot of fun in it.
And then our last question for you, Corey and I had a discussion under the caution for that incident. You didn't come down pit road and at least top off with fuel just for that insurance policy, but you also didn't come down and just make sure that there wasn't any damage. Was there any reason why you stayed out on the track?
I knew after the yell I was going to be good on fuel, so I wasn't really concerned about that. And damage, I mean, it's a short track, if you will, so I don't know. It's not really draft dependent. I knew I didn't get hit too hard. And a little something from the rear. What really honestly got me the most was the tires. It really burnt my tires up there, put a lot of heat in them, and I just couldn't get it back.
Yeah, it seemed that after the initial couple laps from the green flag, you just dropped off a little bit, and we saw you brush on the wall, and just seemed to have lost a little bit of the handle. Anybody that you want to thank here tonight, and thank for your good run here?
I'd like to thank everyone over here at the new league, the start of the new season. It's been very well put together so far, I think, and we've got a good fair amount of drivers showing up every week, and I'd like to thank everyone everyone doing the broadcasting at Primetime Racing TV. You guys are doing a great job as well.
Well, thank you. Good run tonight. Really good to see you bring it home there in second place. We thought you might be able to hang on there for the win in that middle section, and just unfortunate that it didn't work out there.
I was hoping, but I'll take a P2 all day.
All right, you got Atlanta next week, man. We'll talk to you then.
Alrighty, see you guys.
All right, and now our final place on the podium is going to be Zach Ward in the 8. Zach, you had some speed. You nearly got off second there. I thought you had the similar pace to Thornton and Carroll at times, but just couldn't sustain it there and settle for a third there. What were you kind of missing to kind of get you with those top two guys?
I mean, it was tough, man. I mean, I know everybody had their hands full tonight, but I felt like on the first run, I did a good job of saving my stuff, and then just on the second run, I was battling Rob a little bit when we came off pit road, but I forgot that there was guys on other strategy. I was trying to get a lap lead, so I roasted the tires, and then I just couldn't. I mean, once you roast them, there's not really any coming back from that. So. Just couldn't really find a good balance on the second and the third run with the pace that I had on the first run.
Yeah, just couldn't quite come back from it, and just kind of obviously this is going to be the akin to the league where, of course, the 65% fuel load. I know the tire sets. I don't know if they're going to be as stringent in every race as they were here today, but what was kind of even the mindset going into it, where you knew that it was going to be stretching it, it wasn't going to handle good, you're going to have to make some tough decisions. What's the kind of like the mantra like coming into every race in the league? It's fun for us to watch, but I know it's a headache in the driver's seat trying to figure it all out.
Yeah, I know. With the limited tire sets, I was even thinking on the second one, I'm like, geez, is it worth it for me to take no tires here, pray for a yellow, and then throw my last set on and have that advantage? But the fall off is just so much. I mean, you're kind of forced to take the tires at the end of each of those runs. So I mean, it's managing the tires from the first lap all the way to the last lap of that run. There's not really any like, if you go, you're gonna cook them. So.
Well, we'll hope the build, we've already been told Dynamic Track's coming back. We'll see what happens. But the Zach and Zach show didn't work in your favor last week. It was the photo finish there with Thornton, but now we head back to another draft track next week at Atlanta. What's your confidence level heading into there for another semi-super speedway?
I mean, those are all just kind of like, crap shoots. It's whoever, if you're there at the end, if you're staying alive. So. I mean, we'll try to stay up front. Me and my teammate Kane, we'll try to work together throughout the whole race because I mean, you need the help there. So, but if I'm there at the end, I like my chances.
All right, I guess next week's soundtrack is the Bee Gees, Staying Alive, I guess.
Yeah. I got to get Zach one of these times. So.
All right, like I said, the Zach and Zach show. We'll see if it flips on your coin next week, man. But congrats on a podium run, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. You guys have a good one.
All right, well, that's a broadcast here on the channel. Jim, I know it was a little rough starting into it here today with some technical issues, but glad to have you help me out here on our last second call here.
Yeah, absolutely. Really fun race. Can't wait to see these guys go to Atlanta. I'll definitely be watching from home next week as we recover from the big race Saturday night. By the way, Corey, we're at 996 subscribers at the moment.
Yep, so it's going to be a busy week here on PTR TV. Jim is the league owner of the American Sim Racing Sanction, so we'll have because I said if he gets me to 1,000, or at least 995 as a grace. We've already exceeded that, so we'll be covering the late model stock 125 at the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway, and then we'll be covering the 26th annual online All-American 400 on Saturday night, as well as the Red Sox Racing League on Thursday, and the Goose Graphics Late Model Tour, which you may or may not be driving on Thursday at a track that is beyond by memory. So busy week here on PTR TV, 4 away from the big goal of 1,000, so make sure you just hit that like button and subscribe button and get us those last 4 that we're looking for. But that's Corey and Jim Foose signing out of the booth here tonight. Have a great night, and we'll catch you next time.